That is should not be happening. There we go. It's the big red one.
I've done that before where I've recorded and, well, I haven't been recording. I thought I was recording. I filmed an entire webinar.
And didn't push record?
Didn't push record.
I've had a few shows like that. Well, welcome to our first episode from B2X Studios, which is actually being constructed right now. This is her studio. I've got my studio. Then we're going to merge studios, and we're going to be talking about all things the custom tailored lifestyle.
So that includes life, business, relationships, I guess.
Health.
Why
Definitely.
not? I've got LifeWave patches all over my body, so we can talk about it.
I was thinking about that from my podcast from earlier. I had one behind my ear. And I was looking at the recording going, oh, I have LifeWave behind my ear. So yeah, we're going to talk about all the things because we do come across a lot of people that are coupled up in business. They might own their own businesses. We've been through a couple of stages where when we met, she was working as an attorney and I had my own business, and then
we were long distance on top of it.
Distance, and then from there, she started her own business, and so we're both running our own businesses, and we've also merged and are now building the Sisneros Empire.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. The B2X Empire. The B2X Empire. That's right. I thought I was going to I was going to try to blend B2X and Empire and say B2X Empire.
I know. I did it with... Work. Now we have, because we have such a beautiful brand, when we get done with a document or some sort of thing where I go, it's time for us to B2 sexy it. So
ooh,
we do that.
B2
we do
sexy.
That. We send it over to the team and we say B2 sexy that up, which is basically just add our badass brand colors and everything else to it.
Yeah, I love it.
Cool.
So welcome to the first episode of the B2X Studio Podcast, or MJ Podcast. Or JM Podcast.
You could send in some. This might be actually a good little competition for everybody. You get to name the podcast when her and I are doing it together.
No, let's not do that.
Let's do that.
No,
there could be some
real audience, randos out there.
There could be some really cool names that come in,
or
and
some real crazy ones. Mm-hmm. So we will put it out for a bid, for auction for people to select, but we reserve the right to not select any names.
Attorney talk.
I object.
You can do what you want, but then you can't do what you want. And then you can do what you want, but it's got to be within the law. Legalrealms.com.
Okay, anyway, so in this first episode, I think a good starting topic would be kind of navigating what it's like to have a built to exit lifestyle. So when we talk about built to exit, we're talking about the brand that overarches each of our companies, each of our brands. And that is building our clients' companies to exit. And exit means something different for everybody. For a lot of people, it means they want to prep their businesses for sale. For others, it means they don't want to ever sell it while they're alive. They want to be able to pass on a thriving company to their kids. And some others just really want to have, and I think everybody really wants to have financial and time freedom, regardless of what route they pick, right?
Yeah, it's all about custom tailored. I mean, one of the things that I figured out as when I was broke, and then you make money and you start to figure out, oh, there's this thing called custom tailored suits, where there's that story that I told you about my very first presentation in front of Tony Robbins, where I was wearing this big boxy green, suit that I looked ridiculous in. And then you make some money and you're like, oh, people actually can custom tailor the suit to you. And you get custom tailored, this and custom tailored that. And then you start to go on vacations and it's like you can custom tailor your vacations to different things. You could put a table out on the beach and have just a one-on-one thing. You can go fly over stuff. It comes down to the more financial stability that you have, the more financial success that you have with your business, the more ability you have to custom tailor your life. And that's where what I have always loved. I think that so many people are like, this is how a successful life looks. And that may not mean anything to you. Somebody watching this may go, who cares about a private jet? I don't want a private jet. Who cares about a Lamborghini? What I'd like is to be able to go hang out in Italy half the year and stay here half the year. I'd like to be, it comes down to our choices. And so this podcast, Our Life, is just a representation of us custom tailoring our own experience called life to our desires, what we want to do, where we want to travel, what kind of lifestyle we want to have, how much do we want to give to charity, and doing rescues or helping domestic violence or whatever pops up that we are led to with our Christian walk to be able to give to. That's part of our custom tailored life. One great focus that I have noticed over my career is that business allows you, when done correctly, when built to exit, right? When it's done correctly, it finances your version of freedom.
It's really interesting too. We were talking to one of the B2X strategists. So we have certified strategists who have gone through the B2X bootcamp and are training and learning under our B2X principles to not only build and continue to get their already thriving businesses and coaching businesses to a whole nother level, but it's also allowing them to be able to better coach their clients. And we were talking to one of the strategists today, and he took a picture of this little stand with flowers that he stopped by, and he got flowers for his wife for Valentine's Day, because we're filming this the day after Valentine's Day. So he got flowers for his wife, and he said, I could have gone to one of those big box stores and just gotten flowers for her, but I wanted to spend a little bit of extra money and go to this kind of mom and pop stand and support them and their business. And that, to me, is what it's all about, is being able to instead making conscious decisions about where we shop, because we have extra income to do that. People who are struggling to make ends meet don't have the flexibility to be able to choose someone that is building their own small business and supporting them instead of, going on Amazon and just finding it cheaper. So I can't fault people for trying to find the cheapest brands or the cheapest products, especially when they're struggling to build their own businesses or make ends meet. What we found to be a really important position that we're in, and I think something that we really strongly identify with, is helping businesses get to that next level, helping business owners escape from the shackles of being tied down by not having a lot of money. And that's kind of the simplest way to say it. Like, people are struggling to make money. People are struggling to make ends meet. There are people, I had a few jobs, and when I was starting my business, I was broke. And I didn't accept a dime from anybody. I wanted to build it or fail on my own, but I didn't want to work for anybody else. But my goodness, I didn't have the luxury of making decisions on going to Starbucks or, buying luxury coffee or going to a mom and pop flower stand and buying myself fresh flowers. I had to buy cheap because that's all I could afford. I went through the B2X system. I didn't have anybody helping me. I know what that system did for me. That's the course. It was formerly known as the growth course. Mm-hmm. And it changed my life. And that was an investment I made when I was very much broke. And it was just me and my cat. And we were just chilling and just trying to make ends meet. And then it took my business to a whole level that I didn't even think I was worthy of. So I had to work through all of that. And then I had the funds to bring in the B2X team to do a deep dive on my company. And I was able to afford that because my company went through the roof. And then from there, my company has grown ever since. And we're one of the top cannabis consulting companies in the world. And we have a full team that supports our clients' outcomes. And now I have financial freedom.
And again, it's about custom tailored. You just think about your own life. And this is what we why we want you on the journey with us, is so we can hear your stories and understand from you, because our brand, and we talk about business in general, our brand is about falling in love with the outcome of the business owner. We've both been. I started my business. I crashed 3 in a row. I've struggled to get to a place where I could sell one of them. Got my rear end handed to me because I didn't know what I was doing. And then all the way to a few years back in 2019, I finally had a custom tailored exit, which was where, an interaction with a private equity firm. I knew how they bought it. I built it exactly to their specifications. and it was an easy transaction. But the major difference was I controlled the amount of time that it was going to take. I controlled the amount of money that I was going to make, and I controlled all the terms because I knew what I was doing. That's what we want you to have, is to have that control over the most important transaction that you'll ever have as a business owner, is that exit of your business. 3 types of exits: failure, right? That's an involuntary exit, we call it. Dictated, which means life circumstances, different things happen to you, and you have to take what you can get from somebody who's offering you a business. Or the custom tailored exit. And that's really what this is all about. And so, when we talk about custom tailoring both of our lives and our outcomes, it's not interesting except for some of the things that can happen for you. And one of hers was, again, put herself through college, put herself through law school. And those of you that have been through that experience, I can't identify with it because I never graduated from high school. But the amount of debt that she was carrying around with her because of her education, because of those choices. And where were we? We were in Puerto Rico. We were sitting on the beach one day, and I've got the video of her in her swimsuit on the beach in her chair, sitting back, and she pushes the button, and boom, all her student loan debt paid.
This is kind of a non sequitur, but it's really not. There are so many people online who they're trying to create viral reels or something, or like TikTok posts or something. And so their captions are always like, I made $1 million. I have $1 million a month marketing business. I have a $600,000 marketing business. And it's like, they're typing on a laptop and they're looking super chill. And it's like, I have and words floating on the screen. My $600,000 per month marketing business. Let me show you my tricks. So many of these people are lying just to get views. Mm-hmm. And it breaks my heart because if I didn't have the time to be on social media when I was building my business. But if I could have fallen for something like that and then spent my money on a course or some sort of program that was a bull crap. Yeah. And these people don't care about you. They just want your money. And I just think that's so unethical and so immoral. And that's what I think I love about B2X, is that it's the opposite. It's just people who want to help people.
Yeah. Well, and it's a different instance. I love teaching. I love that I've gotten to a place in my life where I can teach, right? And that we're in a position to where we can do whatever it is that we want to do at any time with anybody, and not have to, but what we're choosing to do with that is take the years and the ass kickings that we've gone through and be able to put that into a system, right? A hard fought system called B2X system, and then exit prep, and to help people take their asset and be able to exit for somewhere between $5 and $30 million. This is game changer stuff. And it's nice to be in a position, and there's a couple of people that are out there. Keith Cunningham was a good example for me. He didn't need my money that I paid him to spend time with him, right? In the chairman group that I was in, to be able to go to his events, to be able to learn from it. Wasn't his living. His living was doing real businesses, which is why I wanted to learn from him in the first place. And that's the same thing for us. We don't, the consulting side of what we do it impacts our lifestyle zero. If nobody did it, zero impact. If everybody does it, zero impact. It goes to, charity and all the other stuff that we do. But it is a mission of passion. It is a mission of love. It is a mission of, being at that point in our lives where we can just do nothing but give back and change the environment. I have bigger goals for the small and mid-sized company ecosystem, that we have to exist. There was a day when 80% of this country owned their own businesses. There was a day. Now it's less than 10%.
It's hard owning a business, though. I mean, every bit of money you make is it feels like people are constantly trying to take every dollar you make. It is unbelievable. Every platform that you use costs money. And what's interesting, a perspective that I have learned is, because I used to be an employee, you don't realize how much money it costs to run a business. And so anytime you bring someone on, even if you bring a new employee in, you're taxed, and then you get cost for your payroll company. That costs money. Running payroll that week, that costs money. Taxes, that costs money. Like, I mean, and then you invest in all the other things you have to put in for employee salary. It's worth it with the right employee. And I'm not saying don't hire, because that was the best decision I made, was to hire. But you have to consider the cost. And it doesn't surprise me that it's gone from like 80% down to, what'd you say, less than 10?
It's less than 10%. And it's tough, but it's worth, because there's some people, and I heard there was a guy by the name of Mark Andreessen, and he's involved in a bunch of the tech stuff with Elon, and all that. Very, very wise guy. And he said, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, there's a major differentiator, is that if you think you want to be an entrepreneur, you probably shouldn't be, right? But if you have no other option but to be a business owner, those are the ones that are going to make it. Because there's no other option for me. Can you imagine me working for somebody else?
Oh, like, so that's what he means?
Yeah.
Okay.
He basically just means that there is a DNA malfunction.
Sometimes I do think it's a DNA mutation or something.
Is a DNA malfunction. And those of us that do not want to work for another company, we don't want to take money from the government. We are very, very much, rebels by nature, and our business is a sort of it's our weapon against other people controlling us and controlling our time. So we're all weird in the same way.
Right.
And one of the things I love about B2X and how it's evolved over the last 20 years is that it is a defender. I mean, ever since I can remember, my first love was protecting against domestic violence. And then we got into rescuing kids and sex trafficking and feeding people around the world and being there as a backstop for veterans and those types of things. And that's how I feel what B2X is. It's a brand for you, the business owner, to be your own hero with your own business, to have that exit between $5 and $30 million, which will change you and your life, your family's lives, and the choices that you have. But it also is in defense against the very act of owning your business. We have don't realize as a country how thin the line is between us having to work for somebody else and this little eye blink of time called being able to own your own business. And we have to defend it. And the way that we defend it is by all of us banding together, doing business with each other, learning the best that we possibly can, and having a voice out in the marketplace. And so that's what I'm absolutely loving about the journey.
You have a different perspective, and that's what I love about you. You have a defender's spirit, a defender's heart. You're a protector. That's one of my favorite attributes about you. And I think for me, I kind of approach it differently. I saw how hard my parents worked to raise my brother and my sister and I. And my mom gave up the work that she was doing to be a stay-at-home mom, which was the biggest sacrifice, right? That's like, I think the statistic is like, it's the equivalent of like 2.5 or 3.5 full-time jobs or something insane, right? Because you don't get a break. You don't get lunch breaks. You don't get to clock in and clock out. It doesn't end.
Call in sick. Yeah.
You just get sick when everyone else in your family gets sick, and then you have to keep going, right? So my mom made that sacrifice. My dad worked so hard to feed a family of 5.
Yeah.
And so we were on a really strict budget, but I watched him without complaint. I never once heard my dad complain about having to work.
Yeah.
He was ironing his clothes the night before. He'd pack his lunch the night before, and he would be out the door in a timely fashion. He's always a very on-time person. I'm not. You're not. But he is. And he worked so hard to make ends meet. And what clicked for me was, I don't ever want to have to just make ends meet.
Yeah.
I want to live a life where I don't have to worry about paying the bills.
Yeah.
And that's not a selfish thing to want. And once I learned that that wasn't a selfish thing to want, that it's okay to want to have more, like more income, so that I can bless other people with it, so I don't have to worry about bills, so I don't have to worry about feeding, our eventual like children. That's when I realized that entrepreneurship could be the option for me. First, I wanted to be an attorney. There were skills about being an attorney that I loved, but I realized there were so many things that were missing in it for me, and that could only be found in owning my own business. And I realized I could also obtain financial freedom on my own terms rather than being an employee. Yeah. And so now through B2X, that's my approach. I want other people to feel that way too. I don't ever want my parents to feel like they have to make ends meet. I want to always be able to provide for them now. I want to say, you get a break now. You don't have to work for the rest of your life unless you want to.
Right.
That's my goal, to be able to support your mom and your chosen father and my parents. And that's important to me. That was the biggest thing where I'm like, I got my dad a first class flight because I wanted we did. But I just wanted him to feel special because he always worked so hard for us, So that's the type of thing. It's like emotional for me. And I look at that, and that's when I knew that I could help other people. That's what B2X, that's what it clicked for me, that I can help other people not have to worry about meeting their bills, that they can give with an open and free heart, that the nonprofit or charity that they love, they can help and give free time towards without having to say, oh man, what do I have to give up in return, cost-wise, financially? We can write checks to people without worrying about that hitting our bank account. And I want everyone to feel that way. And it's possible. So that's the best thing. And that's really what I want this podcast to be. I want this to be a resource so people can learn that they can have that freedom too. That's what I want.
I love it. It's a great tool, and it's been amazing, because I built my career on my own. You built your career on your own. And when people keep asking us, like every time we do events together, like now we're speaking on stages together and we're doing events together. And it's been one of the biggest blessings of my life to know that a woman, the right woman, can be an accelerator to all of everything that you're wanting to do with your life. Never really thought that until she and I started working together. We started building things together, and then we got married, and it's been a real blessing. And it's not we see a lot of stuff online that's contrived. It's I think some people get together just because they have X amount of followings, and they're like, together we could have
and they're
more
like,
followers.
We're gonna have they got married like a day ago, and they're like,
Right.
I'm making this up. This isn't a particular person, but this is the general theme.
Yeah.
They get married,
Mm-hmm.
they date for like a month, they get married, and then they're like, we're gonna coach you on how to have a better marriage because we know.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not qualified to
And then
get
they're
married.
divorced 6 months later. But it's not to hammer on people. That's good for them. What I'm trying to say is that
It's not good for them.
No, it's good for entertainment value.
Yeah.
But I believe that what the world is in search of and looking for is more not reality, because we obviously know that the world has gone screwy since reality TV. It's more realism, right? More people that are being real for each other and with each other. And, there's a lot of people that I've been around, and one of the things that they get from us all the time is we're just real people. Because our lives are one way, we don't think you're stupid for wanting to live your life another way. There's no judgment. And I believe a Christian life is a custom tailored life. You choose between you and a higher power what the end game is going to be. In other words, when you get across that finish line, this is where the tagline comes from. Everybody exits. I'm going to heaven someday. She's going to heaven someday. We're not taking any of the business stuff with us. We're not taking our reputation with us. We're not taking all of the stuff that everybody thinks is important on this plane is not important. It's the relationship that you have for us, right? That's what we believe. And I look at business as that is one of the ways that I can multiply the talents that God gave me. And we do that together. We challenge each other. We have goals. one of the harder things to do in life is to when you don't need money anymore, when you've made enough that you don't need it, that you don't have to make decisions based on that. That's a whole other challenge. So we're here for the journey. I think God put us in a specific position to be able to serve at a higher level, and to be able to serve a community that I think does and has changed the world for the better, and that's small and mid-sized companies. Those of you that don't know or new, SME is small and mid-sized enterprise. That's anywhere from 0 employees to 499, and we do 60% of a $25 trillion economy here in the United States. That's 17 to 18 trillion dollars is because of us.
I think
60% of the hiring is done by us. And
my
so
brain got fuzzy with stats,
yeah,
statistics.
No, but it's important that we all understand, that we all know we're part of the same family. There's 33 million of us here in the United States. We got to do better. We got to hang out with each other more. We got to learn from each other. We have to do business with each other, and that's the calling of Built to Exit, is for you to be able to do that and turn your business into an asset that can eventually help you be able to be free economically.
I love that. Sorry, my brain started going fuzzy when I heard statistics, but those are powerful numbers. And for me, visually, I always thought small businesses were like those little shops you see, like a one-man band type of thing. Small businesses is those are big businesses. Yeah. Like those are one-man bands all the way up to how many employees? 500 employees. So small to mid-size is kind of a misnomer in my brain, because I always think of it as like sole proprietor. But my laptop battery is going to die, which means and I forgot to plug my laptop in.
Did we do it? We went
32 minutes.
32 minutes.
Look at us.
Nice. Nailed it.
So
we'll see you next episode.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate your time. And yeah.
Yeah. And it's going to be doing nothing but getting better. We love the journey. Make sure you follow us. Make sure you share this. Let us know what you want us to talk about. We'll talk about anything. You know, if you follow us, you know us on social media. We hide nothing. We'll talk about anything, and there's no subject that we won't broach. So, thank you for being with us. Thank you for watching the first episode, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all on the road in IRL. As the kids say.
No one says IRL. We're going to Nashville next weekend, so maybe we'll see you in Nashville.
Oh, Nashville. DealCon. See you there.
Bye.